If you keep waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you cannot figure out why, I need you to stop and listen carefully. Because what is pulling you out of sleep at that hour is not random. It is not just part of getting older, and it is not something you should keep brushing off. Your body is trying to send you a message, and if you are over 60, that message may be more important than you think. Most people will tell you, "Oh, that is just what happens when you age," and then you accept it. You lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your mind will not shut off, why your heart feels like it is racing, why your legs will not stay still, or why you suddenly feel wide awake at the exact same hour, night after night after night. But here's the truth that most people never hear. Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, especially if it is happening regularly, can be connected to real changes happening inside your body. Changes in your blood sugar, changes in your hormones, changes in your breathing, even changes in how your brain is managing stress and emotion while you sleep. And the good news? Once you understand what is actually going on, there are real practical steps you can take. Not complicated ones, not expensive ones. Simple daily adjustments that many seniors have used to finally sleep through the night again. I'm going to walk you through 7 possible reasons your body keeps waking you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Some of them will make perfect sense to you right away, but a few of them, especially the last one, may genuinely surprise you because it is something millions of seniors do every single day, believing it is completely harmless, and it may be the very thing that is stealing your sleep. So please stay with me through the entire video. This information could change how you sleep tonight. Before we begin, I want to ask you something. In the comments below, tell me, how long has this been happening to you? Weeks? Months? Years? And when you wake up at that hour, what does it feel like? Is it anxiety? Is it pain? Is it just your eyes opening for no reason at all? Write it down, because your experience may help another senior watching this right now who feels completely alone in this. Now, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Richard Lee, and for years I have been passionate about one thing: helping older adults understand what their body is actually telling them. Not in complicated medical language, not with confusing charts, but in plain, honest words that make sense the moment you hear them. Because I believe you deserve to understand your own body, and I believe that understanding is the first step to protecting your independence, your energy, and your quality of life for years to come. So, here's what we are going to cover today. 7 real reasons your body may be waking you up around 3 o'clock in the morning. For each one, I will explain what is happening inside your body, why it matters more after 60, what it can feel like, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it starting today. Let us begin. Reason number 7. Your blood sugar is dropping while you sleep. This is one of the most common reasons seniors wake up in the middle of the night, and it is one of the least talked about. Here's what happens. When you eat dinner, your body breaks that food down into glucose, which is your blood sugar. That glucose gives your cells energy, but as the night goes on, especially if your last meal was early, or if it was mostly simple carbohydrates like white bread, pasta, or sweet dessert, your blood sugar can drop too low while you are sleeping. When that happens, your body triggers a stress response. It releases cortisol and adrenaline to try to bring that blood sugar back up. And those are the exact same hormones that make you feel alert, anxious, and wide awake. Think of it like this. Imagine your body has a fuel gauge, just like a car. While you sleep, that gauge is slowly going down. If it drops below a certain line, your body hits an internal alarm. Not because something is terribly wrong, but because it is trying to protect you. The problem is that alarm goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and now you are lying there with your heart beating a little too fast, your mind racing, and no idea why. I have spoken with so many seniors who describe this exact feeling. One gentleman told me he would wake up almost every night around the same time, feeling shaky and anxious. He thought it was stress. He thought maybe it was his heart. But when he started having a small balanced snack before bed, something with a bit of protein and healthy fat, like a few almonds or a small piece of cheese, the wake-ups became far less frequent. Now, if you have diabetes or you are on medication that affects blood sugar, this is especially important to discuss with your doctor. Do not make changes to your eating schedule without their guidance. But for many seniors, simply adjusting the timing and content of that last evening meal can make a noticeable difference. And here's what I want you to understand. This is not about eating more. It is about eating smarter in the evening, so your body has steady fuel through the night. But blood sugar is only one piece of this puzzle, because the next reason actually involves something you cannot see, something happening in your airways while you are completely unaware. Reason number 6, your breathing may be interrupted without you knowing. This one concerns me deeply as a doctor, because it affects a large number of seniors, and most of them have absolutely no idea. I'm talking about sleep-disordered breathing. The most well-known form is obstructive sleep apnea, a condition where the soft tissue in the back of your throat relaxes during sleep and partially or fully blocks your airway. When that happens, your brain detects a drop in oxygen, and it yanks you awake just enough to start breathing again. You may not even remember waking up, but your body remembers. And it often happens in the lighter stages of sleep, which tend to cluster in the second half of the night, right around that 2 to 4 in the morning window. Here's the simple way to think about it. Imagine you're sleeping peacefully, and someone gently places a hand over your mouth and nose for just a few seconds. Your body would fight that immediately, right? That is essentially what is happening inside your throat, over and over again all night long. And every time your brain has to rescue your breathing, it pulls you out of deep, restorative sleep. The signs are not always obvious. Yes, loud snoring can be a clue. But many seniors with sleep apnea do not snore loudly at all. Instead, they notice things like waking up with a dry mouth, feeling exhausted no matter how many hours they slept, having morning headaches, or needing to use the bathroom multiple times a night, which we will talk about shortly. One woman I remember told me she had been tired for years. She assumed it was just her age. She was 73. Her daughter finally convinced her to do a sleep study, and it turned out she was stopping breathing dozens of times every hour. Once she started treatment, she told me it was like waking up from a fog she did not even know she was living in. If you snore, if your partner has noticed you gasping or pausing in your breathing, or if you wake up feeling like you never slept at all, please bring this up with your doctor. A sleep study can be done, sometimes even at home now, and the treatment options have improved significantly. This matters more after 60 because the muscles that keep your airway open naturally lose tone with age, and weight changes, medications, and sleeping position can all play a role. Now, speaking of things that pull you out of sleep without warning, The next reason is one that almost every senior has experienced, but very few understand why it gets worse in the middle of the night. Reason number 5, your bladder is waking you up, and the cause may not be what you think. Getting up to use the bathroom at night is so common among older adults that most people just accept it. One trip, maybe 2, they shrug it off. But when it is happening specifically around 3 o'clock in the morning, and when it is disrupting your ability to fall back asleep, it is worth looking at more closely. The medical term is nocturia, and it can have several causes. For some seniors, it is related to how the body handles fluid. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at concentrating urine at night, which means your bladder fills up faster. For others, it is related to medications, especially certain blood pressure medications or diuretics that increase urine production. If you are taking those in the afternoon or evening, the timing alone could be the reason you are awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. But here's the part many people miss. Nocturia is not always just a bladder issue. It can be connected to heart function. When you lie down at night, fluid that has pooled in your legs during the day gets redistributed, and some of it ends up being processed by your kidneys. In seniors with mild heart concerns, this fluid shift can be more pronounced, leading to increased urine production in the second half of the night. Think of it like this. During the day, gravity pulls extra fluid down into your ankles and lower legs. At night, when you lie flat, that fluid finally has a chance to move back into your circulation, and your kidneys say, "Time to deal with this." The result? A full bladder right around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock in the morning. One practical step is to elevate your legs for 20 to 30 minutes in the evening before bed. This helps your body process that fluid earlier, so less of it hits your kidneys while you're trying to sleep. Also, consider the timing of your fluid intake. Staying hydrated is essential, but front-loading your water intake earlier in the day and reducing it modestly in the last 2 hours before bed can help. And again, if this is happening frequently, especially more than twice a night, it is absolutely worth mentioning to your doctor. Not to be dramatic about it, but because it can sometimes point to underlying issues that are very treatable once identified. Now, let me ask you something before we move on. If this video has already helped you understand something about your body that you did not know before, please take 1 second to press the like button. That one small action tells YouTube to show this video to more seniors who are lying awake at night with no idea why. And if you have not already, subscribe to Dr. Henry Collins so you never miss another video like this. I put these out because I genuinely believe that clear, honest health information can change lives. All right. Let us continue because the next reason is one that is often hidden in plain sight. Reason number 4, cortisol, your body's internal alarm clock, is misfiring. Your body runs on an internal schedule. Doctors call it your circadian rhythm, and it controls when you feel sleepy, when you feel alert, and when certain hormones rise and fall throughout the day. One of the most important hormones in this cycle is cortisol. Cortisol is your body's natural wake-up signal. In a healthy pattern, cortisol levels are at their lowest in the first half of the night, and they start to rise slowly in the early morning hours to prepare you for waking up. But here is where things go wrong for many seniors. If your body is under chronic stress, whether that's stress, physical pain, inflammation, loneliness, worry about finances, health anxiety, or grief, your cortisol pattern can become disrupted. Instead of rising gently at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, it may spike prematurely, sometimes right around 3 o'clock in the morning. And when cortisol spikes, you feel it. Your eyes open, your mind starts going. You might feel a sense of urgency, like something is wrong,
even though you cannot identify by what. You might start thinking about problems, appointments, things you forgot to do. Your body does not know the difference between a real emergency and a hormonal misfire. It just responds. Imagine your body has a sunrise alarm clock built in.
It is supposed to gently brighten at 6 o'clock in the morning, but stress has rewired it to go off at 3 o'clock instead, blasting you with alertness hours too early. What can you do? The most powerful tool here is a consistent wind-down routine in the evening, and I do not mean anything elaborate. I mean dimming lights an hour before bed, avoiding screens that stimulate your brain, a few minutes of slow, deep breathing, even writing down your worries on a piece of paper before bed, getting them out of your head and onto something you can deal with tomorrow. Research suggests that relaxation techniques, even simple ones, can measurably improve cortisol regulation over time. This is not about becoming a meditation expert. This is about sending your body one consistent signal every night. We are safe. It is time to rest. This is especially important after 60 because the parts of your brain that regulate your stress response can become more sensitive with age, making it easier for that cortisol alarm to trip at the wrong time. But now we get into a reason that many seniors feel, but very few connect to their sleep. And it is more common than you might expect. Reason number 3. Unmanaged pain and inflammation are pulling you out of deep sleep. Here is something most people do not realize. You do not have to wake up in screaming pain for discomfort to disrupt your sleep. Even low-level chronic pain, the kind you barely notice during the day because you are moving around and distracted, can become much louder at night when everything else goes quiet. Joint stiffness, backache, shoulder tension, arthritic hands, restless legs, these are not just daytime problems. They follow you into bed. And here's the critical part. Your body's natural anti-inflammatory processes fluctuate throughout the night. In the second half of your sleep cycle, certain inflammatory markers can increase, which means that mild discomfort can become enough to push you out of deeper sleep and into a lighter stage where you wake up. Think of it like background noise. During the day, there's so much going on that you barely hear the hum of a refrigerator. But at 3 o'clock in the morning, in total silence, that same hum seems impossibly loud. That is what chronic pain does at night. It does not have to get worse. It just does not have anything competing with it anymore. One senior I spoke with told me she kept waking up between 2 and 4 in the morning and assumed it was anxiety. She did not feel like she was in pain, but when her doctor suggested she tried gentle stretching before bed and adjusted the timing of her anti-inflammatory medication, the wake-ups decreased significantly within a couple of weeks. Practical steps here include gentle movement before bed. Not vigorous exercise, but light stretching, especially for the hips, lower back, and shoulders. Make sure your mattress and pillow are supporting your body properly. If you are using pain medication, talk to your doctor about whether the timing of your dose could be optimized to cover you through the early morning hours. And please hear me clearly. Chronic pain is not something you should just endure silently. You deserve to have it managed, and good sleep is a critical part of healing and staying strong. Now, the next reason may seem surprising at first, because it is not about your body at all. It is about your mind. And after 60, this connection becomes far more powerful than most people realize. Reason number 2. Anxiety, Grief or loneliness is surfacing while your defenses are down. This is the one that many seniors feel deeply but rarely talk about openly, and I want to approach it with the respect it deserves. During the day, you are busy. You have tasks, routines, people to talk to, television to watch, things to keep your mind occupied. But at 3 o'clock in the morning, all of those distractions are gone, and the emotions you have been carrying, sometimes without even realizing it, rise to the surface. It might be worry about your health. It might be grief over someone you've lost. It might be the quiet ache of loneliness that comes from a life that has gotten smaller over the years. Fewer friends, fewer outings, fewer people who call. It might be anxiety about being a burden to your children. It might be fear about losing your independence. These feelings are not weakness. They are human, and they are remarkably common among older adults. What happens physiologically is that during lighter stages of sleep, your brain processes emotions. It sorts through the experiences and feelings of the day. And when there is unresolved emotional weight, your brain can become more active during these processing phases. Active enough to wake you up. I spoke with a widower once, a man in his late 70s, who told me he had been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning almost every night since his wife passed. He did not cry during the day. He kept busy. He told himself he was fine, but every night his body told a different story. It was only when he started talking to a counselor, just once a week, that the wake-ups gradually began to ease. If this resonates with you, I want you to know something important. Asking for help with your emotional health is one of the strongest things you can do. It is not a sign of failing. It is a sign that you understand your body and your mind are connected, and that both deserve attention. Talk to someone you trust. Consider speaking with a counselor or therapist. Many now offer sessions by phone or video, which can be easier for seniors. And know that even writing in a journal before bed, getting those thoughts out of your head, can provide measurable relief. This matters more after 60, because life after 60 often involves more loss, more change, and more quiet than any other stage of life. And your sleep is one of the first places where that emotional weight shows up. And now we come to the final reason. This is the one I mentioned at the very beginning, the one that surprises almost everyone, and it may be the one that is most relevant to your life right now. Reason number 1. Your evening habits may be quietly sabotaging your sleep architecture. Let me explain what I mean by sleep architecture. Your sleep is not one long, flat state. It moves in cycles roughly 90 minutes each, and those cycles include lighter sleep, deeper sleep, and dream sleep. In a healthy pattern, you get more deep sleep in the first half of the night and more light sleep and dream sleep in the second half. This is important because it means the second half of your night, the part that includes 3 o'clock in the morning, is naturally more fragile. You are already in lighter sleep, so anything that disrupts your system even a little is more likely to wake you up during that window. And here's where your evening habits come in. Many seniors have an evening routine that includes things they consider harmless. A cup of tea after dinner, a glass of wine to help relax, watching the news right up until bedtime, eating a large meal late in the evening, keeping the bedroom too warm, checking a phone or tablet with a bright screen. Each one of these on its own might seem like nothing, but together they create a pattern that quietly undermines your sleep architecture. Let me break down a few of the most common ones. Caffeine is the one that catches people off guard the most. Many seniors switch to tea in the evening thinking it is gentle and harmless. But black tea, green tea, and even some herbal blends can contain enough caffeine to affect your sleep, particularly because your body processes caffeine more slowly after 60. What might have cleared your system in 4 hours at age 40 could take 6, 7, or even 8 hours now. So that cup of tea at 7 o'clock in the evening may still be active in your system at 3 o'clock in the morning. Alcohol is another one. A glass of wine or a small drink in the evening might help you fall asleep faster, but research consistently shows that alcohol fragments the second half of the night. It disrupts those lighter sleep stages and makes it far more likely that you will wake up in the early morning hours and struggle to fall back asleep. Then there is the screen issue. Watching television or using a tablet late at night exposes your eyes to light that can suppress melatonin, the hormone your brain uses to maintain your sleep cycle. This does not mean you can never watch television, but the closer to bedtime you do it, and the brighter the screen, the more it can interfere with your brain's ability to stay asleep later in the night. And eating late matters too. A heavy meal close to bedtime forces your digestive system to work when it should be resting. This can cause discomfort, acid reflux, and internal activity that makes the second half of your night more restless. The solution is not to eliminate all enjoyment from your evening, not at all. It is about making small, thoughtful adjustments. Switch to a truly caffeine-free herbal option like chamomile or rooibos after mid-afternoon. If you enjoy a drink, have it earlier in the evening and keep it modest. Dim the lights in your home an hour before bed. Move your last meal a bit earlier if possible, and keep it lighter. These are not dramatic changes, but together they protect the fragile second half of your night. And that is exactly the part of your sleep that determines whether you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning or sleep peacefully until morning. Now, let me bring this all together for you, because understanding the big picture is just as important as knowing each individual reason. Your body waking you up at 3 o'clock in the morning is not a mystery, and it is not a life sentence. It is a signal. And that signal can come from your blood sugar dropping too low, from your breathing being interrupted, from your bladder responding to fluid shifts, from cortisol spiking too early, from chronic pain becoming louder in the silence of night, from emotional weight that surfaces when your defenses are down, or from evening habits that quietly chip away at the quality of your sleep. Most of the time, it is not just one of these. It is a combination of 2 or 3 working together. And the beautiful thing is that once you identify which ones apply to you, the steps to improve them are often surprisingly simple. A small evening snack with protein, elevating your legs before bed. A conversation with your doctor about your breathing or your bladder. A consistent wind-down routine, gentle stretching, emotional support, and a careful look at what you eat, drink, and do in the 2 hours before bedtime. None of these require expensive equipment. None of them require complicated medical procedures. They require awareness, and they require you to believe that you are worth the effort. And you are. I want you to hear me say this directly. You're not too old to sleep well. You're not too old to wake up feeling rested. You are not too old to take back your nights and protect your energy, your clarity, and your independence. After 60, your body does change. But change does not mean decline. It means your body needs you to listen more carefully, respond more thoughtfully, and treat it with the care and respect it has earned after all these years. Good sleep is not a luxury.